Hello, Mrs. Iro. How are you doing?
Good evening to you. Good afternoon to me. I'm great.
Yes, a very good afternoon. And thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure indeed. From Greece to India, India to Greece in seconds. Isn't it amazing?
It's amazing. So with that,
Yes.
I would also like to welcome all our attendees. A very good evening and a very good afternoon to those joining us from Greece. And welcome to the Aesthetic Medicine Digital Series. I'm Shriyal Sethumadhavan, the Executive Editor of Aesthetic Medicine India. Mrs. Iro Smith has joined us today live from Greece for an interview with me. And we are going to focus on permanent makeup. So before we dive into my questions, I am delighted to introduce Mrs. Iro with a few more words. Mrs. Iro Smith is a certified professional esthetician, makeup artist, and permanent makeup artist with studies in Greece, Paris, the Far East, and the USA. She is a member of CIDESCO and is internationally known for her presentations in many conferences and exhibitions across the world. Mrs. Iro has been practicing the art of permanent makeup since 1990 and also in cooperation with dermatologists and plastic surgeons. She provides her expert solutions for cosmetic applications and medical corrections. She is the founder of the company Iro Smith Wake Up with Makeup, with branches in Greece, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Dubai, UAE, and the USA. Once again, thank you, Mrs. Iro, for joining us today.
You said it all. I don't know how much more I can say, but you said it all. And it is exactly what it is and more.
I wanted to be sure I did not miss out on anything there.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You said it all.
Thank you. So, Mrs. Iro, we started with the aesthetic medicine, India digital series, as we've been calling it. And the whole aim has been to, bring forward interesting sessions to help the aesthetics community grow their business and make the AM digital series a truly knowledge sharing platform. And to all my attendees for this evening, I always say this, that if you have missed any of our past webinars, do not forget to log on to our website, aestheticmed.in, for the recorded sessions. Also, at the bottom of your screen today, you would see two options. One is a chat box and one is a Q&A box. So for any questions that you have for Mrs. Iro, you could please key it into the Q&A box and we would take it up at the end of the session once I'm done with my questions for her. And if you have any suggestions for aesthetic medicine or for me for our webinars, any feedback, please leave it for me in the chat box and we would definitely make note of it post the session. So having said that, Mrs. Iro, shall we get started?
Absolutely. I'm ready. I'm ready on my expertise of permanent makeup.
Perfect. So then in that case, to begin with, how would you define permanent makeup? What is permanent makeup?
Permanent makeup is the implantation of color into either the epidermis, I will explain in a second, and in dermis. It is very important for me to clarify the following, that our skin consists of three layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the adipose layer. The epidermis is what we touch, we feel, dry, oily, black, white, yellow, whatever it is, that's the epidermis, which also has thinner layers, 4 or 5 of them. And that is sloughs off every 4 to 6 weeks. It depends on the age. It depends on many different factors. I'm not going to go into detail. And then is the dermis. So permanent makeup is the implantation of color into the dermis. The farther into the dermis you go, the longer the color stays. Okay, now the microblading or the very semi-permanent makeup goes right into the layers of the epidermis. When you go into the dermis, the second layer of the skin, then it can stay permanent for a shorter time or a longer time, but more or less, that's what permanent makeup is. The micro pigmentation, that means color into the dermis. Am I clear?
Yes. And what are the kind of devices that are put to use when we do permanent makeup?
Let me tell you what. Tattoo, more or less, permanent makeup is a form of tattooing. Tattooing was developed 2,000 years ago and more. In ancient mummies of Egypt, it was discovered and existed. Then in 1770 something, 79, Captain Hook brought it to England through a man who already had tattoo. Then, like they did before the devices were discovered and developed, which was in 1980, they used, like a lot of Chinese used bamboo stick, where, and believe it or not, that's how I was trained in Singapore, with bamboo stick, where you insert like a sewing needle at the beginning of the bamboo stick, you wrap it with a thread, and then you implant the color into the skin, into the dermis. Of course, nowadays, the devices have improved immensely from 1980, when permanent makeup started becoming known, not popular, but known. Then in the 90s, the devices start becoming very, very advanced, where they're electronic, electric, and you insert individual needles into the machine and you do the work. Yeah, it's very hygienic. Of course, the needles, the covers, everything is one-use disposable. I mean, we have improved immensely in this area, like in all areas of medical, of medicine, equipment, and everything, in life in general. But I learned on bamboo sticks. And since I am one of the first in the world that has started the permanent makeup, and that's more than 25 years ago. And as you can see, my eyeliner, I was my first client on myself, and that's over 25, 28 years now. And so are my eyebrows. And I put nothing extra today so I can show everybody the lasting effects of permanent makeup. My mother died with it. Many of my clients did, and I will die with it. But it does not have to be permanent. It can be semi-permanent. It can be 1 year long, etc., etc. Yeah.
So I know that your experience spreads world over. You have clients globally, but I'm going to straight come to the India market. So how do you view the India market for this service, and how has your India experience been?
Well, let me answer your second question. I've been coming to India for 40 years now. India is like a second home to me, and Greeks and Indians have a lot in common. But I love India. When I used to buy Indian stuff, nobody in the world knew anything about India. When I started introducing, and it was through different encounters that I came to India, it was not necessarily in the beginning, I did not even do permanent makeup then. I've always been an esthetician from college, but I was not always a permanent makeup artist. When I started introducing permanent makeup to India about 20 years ago, I must admit it was not very well welcomed, not very well welcomed. It was not very well accepted because it was not known. But since I had my clinic in Dubai, where a lot of Indians reside in Dubai, they were more exposed to it. But within India, it was not a known subject. not an easy to approach subject or see the effect, so people can make it very aware to them and, you know, be prone to do it. But my own people who knew me, or when I start telling them about permanent makeup, they start believing it, seeing the results, and start doing it. I have numerous clients in India between Udaipur, Jaipur, Delhi, and Bombay and Goa, but mainly in Delhi and Bombay and Mumbai. So people are getting more aware now, they're more informed. So India is a fresh, wonderful market that can benefit immensely from the art of permanent makeup because it saves women from trouble, daily trouble, and medical issues, which I'm sure you'll ask me about.
Right. So I was just coming to that next, that, if you could tell us about the various treatments or conditions for which permanent makeup can be applied.
Well, it is first and foremost for beauty treatments like eyebrows. Mm-hmm. People who don't have any eyebrows, who have alopecia, who suffer from alopecia, men or women alike, it doesn't matter. Like, for example, I will show you now. Look at this lady. Can you see this lady here? This is an old picture. This is the before. This lady had alopecia. Can you see it?
Yeah, just we can only see it partly. We can't see the complete picture.
Can you see now?
Yeah.
And now this is her before. Look at this lady with eyebrows. Look at this. Before and after. This is from alopecia, which means people suffer from a disease, a condition, they lose all the hair. People who have very little eyebrows. People who want to change their eyebrows, the style of the eyebrows. Eyeliner to enhance the eyes, to make them look bigger, to make them look slanted, or whatever, for eyebrows, for eyeliner, for lips. Some people have very small lips. They want to enlarge them. Some people have no lip line. They want to define the line. Some people want to have permanent lip liner, lip color, so they can do permanent. For people with breast, areola restoration is like this. People who have had cancer, so they have lost the nipple, the areola. This is called the areola around the nipple, and we put the color, and that stays permanent. People who, for ladies, for people who want to look beautiful at all the times, going to the beach, going swimming, going exercising, be ready in the morning immediately as they are getting up out of the bed, and they don't waste time making themselves up. So let me sum up. Eyebrows, eyeliner, lip liner, full lip, alopecia, vitiligo, the condition that people lose the skin color, like this man, for example. You see the before, you see around his eyes.
Yeah.
And I can cover it. Look at the difference. Burns, and mainly also corrections, because over the years, a lot of problems were developed because of the lack of expertise on the field. So people made a lot of mistakes. So these mistakes can be corrected.
So going from there, can you take us through the procedure of permanent makeup? How is it done?
Absolutely. The client comes to me. As a professional, I am medically registered and medically approved, and as an esthetician in medical esthetician. They'll have to sign up the consent form, elaborate what they want to be done, how is it to be done, the hygienic of it, and everything. Then, of course, I take them to the special room where we prepare the person by cleaning the area or the face or the area they want to have it, to have the procedure done. I explain to them, I draw on them what I think is correct for them. I suggest and I draw. They tell me what they like, how they want it done. And then we take a mutual decision, let's say for eyebrows. If they, I will explain to them, I will walk them through, I'll explain, I'll clean the area, I draw it, I explain to them what's going to happen. And I prepare the colors in front of the client, because I do not like to use color from the bottle alone. Usually colors, either organic or synthetic or chemical colors, they do change from my experience. So I mix the color in individual containers in front of the client. I change the needles and all the equipment that goes into machine in front of the client. I wear a mask and gloves and of course my uniform in a hygienic manner possible, not possible, mandatory. So clean the face of the client, explain what it needs to be done, how is it going to be done, draw on them, proceed with mixing the colors, proceed by preparing the equipment with disposable one-use needles, and you start working.
Just going back to the previous question where you mentioned about, that this treatment can be used for the eyebrows, for the eyeliner, for the lips. Can it also be used for receding hairlines in women or for camouflaging baldness in men as well?
Absolutely. The scalp pigmentation for women of men. As a matter of fact, I have one now. I was one of the first people. Now it's become very popular. Can you see this scalp before?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and here is like points, like there are roots to the hair. You see? Look at this.
Yeah, can we go a little closer?
Sorry?
Can we go a little closer to the image?
Yes, yes. You see this?
It's not on the image right now. Yeah,
no?
A little to the left. Yes, yes, yes. Now it is. Yes.
Here?
To the left, to the left, to the left.
Here?
Yeah, a little bit more. Yes, yes. So we can see how it
here
was
is the scalp. This is more than 25 years example. Here is the scalp, and then the right after.
Mrs. Iro, you'll have to go a little more to the left.
Right here?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you see how I put points and looks like there is a uniformity of color into the skin, like you have hair roots. And not only that, for women who have just lost a little bit of hair in their, from alopecia in their scalp, very easy to cover it, camouflage it. Nobody can understand that this is artificial. And what I was saying earlier about the corrections, do you see this one?
Yeah, yeah.
This lady came to me with this disaster. Somebody had done permanent makeup on her, and look what they've done. And how I corrected her by removing the color or camouflaging it, and the before and after. Yes. Okay. So scalp pigmentation is also extremely popular and very advantageous to people who absolutely need it, men or women.
Right. So while, you briefly mentioned about the procedure for permanent makeup, are there any pre-preparations that are required before the procedure, and what are they?
Well, when the people sign up the consent form, I need to understand that they don't have a disease. So they need to say the truth about not carrying a disease, either age or hepatitis or other problems, cancer, etc., etc. In my experience of so many thousands of people, so many years, I really never had a problem, like a side effect problem, except minor problems like a little swelling, a little irritation, a little redness and stuff like that go away within a day or two at the most. If people suffer from serious diseases, like AIDS, for example, personally, I'd rather not accept situations where no matter the precautions can jeopardize my profession, my health, Of course, everybody deserves the treatment if they need it, but if necessary, then either more special precautions have to be taken. But generally speaking, permanent makeup can apply to everybody. I've done people with sugar diabetes, although they bleed more. My job doesn't really bleed except the lips. In sugar diabetes people, lips has a problem. But generally speaking, I accept everybody provided they sign the consent and they tell me the truth about their condition. Like if people are if people going through chemotherapy, I don't think I will accept them because they have to recover one thing, because you don't want to develop side effects on somebody whose immune system is very low, for example.
Right, right. Also, post the treatment, are there any precautions that need to be taken, like just after the procedure for a period of time?
Yeah, well, for about a week to 10 days, I tell people not to wash, not to apply too much soap and water on the treated area because this can affect with the color or with the healing process. Although my colors, I know, as I said, how to mix them and how to make them stay permanent. Nevertheless, the skin develops a little crust for the eyebrows because when the body fluid that's extracted from the skin comes to the surface, it becomes crusty. It's almost like you have a scratch in your skin. And when you scratch it and it starts healing, it becomes crusty. So subsequently, the skin is crusty, the color looks a little darker. And in this healing process of about a week to 10 days, one has to be careful from the use of soap or excess water or high exposure to the sun or pool chlorine use and things like that. But these are all very minor, and people, I give everybody written instructions, and I ask everybody to call me if they have any questions. But I cannot really. There are not so many side effects that need to take extra precaution, apart from the fact that they have to take care of the scar of the little crust with a special antibiotic or with a healing cream. And that's important. For about a week, you use a healing cream 2-3 times a day and colorless. Nobody knows that you've even done it or there's something going on.
Right. So when we say like a week to 10 days for, these precautions to be taken, so is that the duration between the treatment and the actual results to show as well? Or does it take a longer duration? What's the duration?
The actual results show immediately. Thus, the color is a bit darker than what is going to be about 2 weeks, yes. But nevertheless, because the skin, as I said initially in the beginning, takes about 4 to 6 weeks to replenish itself, again, depending on the age, etc., etc. I would say, although 2 weeks max, you can see the color 90%, within a month and a half, you'll see the color 100% what is going to be. That's why we do not suggest a touch-up before a month and a half to 2 months, because when the crust goes away, the color looks lighter, and then the skin recovers and the color comes in the surface. So let's say the color looks about 30% darker in the first couple of weeks, then it goes lighter for a week or so, and then within the month, the color is settled beautifully on the skin, and you see what you're going to have. In the meanwhile, let me tell you what, when I mix the colors, I put it on my glove on my hand, and I tell people, this is going to be the color today, and in about 2 weeks, this is going to be the color. You see? So because of my expertise, I know exactly what's going to happen. And most of the time, people understand and they comply to what I explain and believe what's going to be.
Right. And is the treatment painful?
It could be it could have some discomfort, but with the new devices nowadays, with all the new creams like the numbing creams that we use, hardly. Most of the time people tell me it's like an angel caressing them. There are people with different pain tolerance, of course, but as I always say, nobody left my premises before the job was done.
Right.
Lips are more sensitive. For the lips, we do injections. Either a specialized dentist will do a xylocaine injection. In my premises, we do it ourselves because we're expertise with degree, but not everybody can do that, make it clear. People usually have an in-house dentist that can do the injections and there's no pain at all. If people can tolerate a bit of discomfort, but of course with the use of numbing cream or gel or whatever, there's hardly. But lips are generally more sensitive than the eyebrows and the eyeliner.
Right. So I know when we began with the whole interview, you gave an example of your eyeliner, saying that for how many years it's already,
And
been.
eyebrows too, and eyebrows. You see, look at my eyebrows. You cannot even tell it's tattoo in my eyeliner.
Right. So my question from there is, I know it does last for years, but then how long does it last in terms of when do you need a touch up to be done?
Oh, I always suggest that people have a touch up within, let's say, 6 months to a year, the first touch up.
Okay.
Then once everything is settled, because as I said, during the healing process, some of the color may diminish. Again, it depends on the skin. It stays more put on dry skins, but for young people who have oily skin, the skin sloughs off faster. So we have to, uh, you may have to do it once as a touch-up more soon than the dry skin. No matter what, it is recommended from my experience all these years I've been practicing this art of permanent makeup that people should have a touch-up within 6 months, a year. The norm is about 2 months, 6 weeks, but sometimes people cannot come or they whatever, but within a year they should have a touch up. After that, if they choose permanent makeup, eyebrows will remain for at least 5 to 7 years. Most of my clients are like 12, 15 years. Of course, it lightens in color, but it doesn't change color. My colors, it does not change color, but it lightens. If people prefer, some people may decide to change design after a year. They can do that, or they can make them more dark or change color or whatever. They can do that. But eyebrows with permanent makeup, not microblading. Let's make this clear, because it can be semi-permanent makeup, it can be semi-permanent makeup, it can be microblading. Microblading wears off much quicker, 6 months, 1 year, 15 months at the most, because then you go into the epidermis. You don't even enter the dermis, the second layer of the skin, as I explained earlier. So it can last. Eyeliner will last me a lifetime. I will die from it, as many of my clients have, because with a second touch-up, that's it. If you do it lighter or semi, it could be a couple of years, 5 years.
Right, right. And are there any side effects to permanent makeup, or is there anything that could go wrong that you would also want to put as a word of caution to our attendees here?
In previous years, and particularly from my experiences in Dubai, when I first started my clinic, a lot of other countries, like Iranian women who like big, thick eyebrows, Arab women who like big, thick eyebrows, they used to trust people who were not expert at all. They were not estheticians. They would just buy a machine and start, drawing on people's faces. Let's make clear to your audience. Permanent makeup is not makeup that you put on and you take off. That is not as easy as that. It is a serious procedure that has to be done by serious experts who know what they're doing. First of all, it is preferably to go to an esthetician who has studied the muscles, who knows the anatomy of the face to do this work, okay? The side effects in Middle East and all over the world, from my experience, were the designs and the color discoloration. Over the years, colors have improved immensely, but still leave a little remnant, like black would turn green or blue. Brown would turn to red or purple, disasters. Okay, even beige skin color can turn yellowish. People didn't know how to mix, but nowadays pigments have improved immensely. So do designs, because most of the people do not work with freehand. I still work with freehand, although I have all my special tools not to. People measure, they take better training. We teach measuring with special measures. There are plastic designs for eyebrows depending on what people choose to have. So it is difficult to make a mistake anymore in comparison to what used to be before. Okay, so most of the time, the side effects of permanent makeup were the design and the color. Nowadays, things improve, they're not anymore. But also, side effects, and still nowadays, side effects. I wouldn't call that side effects, just the situation. If you do an eyeliner and the skin of the person, the epidermis is very sensitive, it can swell a little bit. Sometimes a little bit bruising on the corners of the eye. So the lips swell sometimes more than others. Sometimes people don't swell in the lips, others do. Generally speaking though, full lip color does swell up the lips, but that's only for a few hours. There is creams you can apply, there is medicine you can take, there's ice, that's the first treatment for everything. And it doesn't last more than a day or two, or sometimes even hours. So these are mainly the side effects. For the lips, there is herpes. That's one thing about lip liner or lips, is the cold sore, as we call it. Most people have it. If you have developed it in your body, if you have indicated cold sores before, then you may develop a cold sore. But with a Zovirax cream or whatever other creams each country has, it'll go away in a few days. It's just annoying and sometimes there's a discomfort of pain, itching, swelling, etc., etc. But these are mainly the side effects of permanent makeup. Nothing lasting, unless it's color and design that's wrong for the face. And that was very common. It's not as common anymore, but some countries and some societies prefer styles that are not very favorable to, let's say, the Americans, like it lighter and not so prominent. The Saudis, the Iranians like thick, big eyebrows. And I always suggest what I think is right for the face and what suits the person, because people usually, if they do something drastic, they will regret it, and they will want to remove it. And as I said before, permanent makeup is not makeup we put on and then we take the cleaner and remove it.
Right, right. You mentioned that you were your first client.
I sure was. Oh my God, where's my picture?
Yeah.
I did. You know what I used to do? I used to try colors from different companies. And I used to do it on my hands. As a matter of fact, I have that here for so many years. You see?
Yes.
This tattoo, my dear, that I did maybe 28 years ago, it was dots of different colors, because I wanted to see what each color would turn to for each different company then. Yeah.
Right.
And then I
So
sat.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, tell me. Yes, please tell me.
Yes. I sat on the floor in my home in my business in Saudi Arabia in Aramco, and my husband was taking the pictures, and I did my eyebrows first, and then I did my liner and my lips, because I wanted to see the results and feel what it feels like, so I can inform my clients. I'm that kind of person that I like to have the first experience so I can prepare the others for what to expect.
Right.
Yes, I was my first.
Yes, I see a lot of questions coming in for us. But just before I go to the questions that are coming in from the attendees, I'll complete this. That while you mentioned you were your first client, I've known that today you have an enterprise that caters to 24,000 clients world over. So,
Almost over 24,000. Yeah. Yeah.
over 24,000, yes. So, what or whom would you attribute this success to?
Repeat your question one more time, please.
What or whom would you attribute this success to? The entire client base and the enterprise that you've built on today. Whom would you attribute, or what factors would you attribute this success to?
Well, hard work and dedication, my dear. Honesty, precision, sincerity. I work to produce. I don't work to make the money. Certainly, the money is important because you live from the income, but I did never thought money before how to make you look prettier, how you can wake up in the morning and see your beauty, because I always believe the external looks of the person are so important to our well-being that I hope, and I have proven to believe, that if you feel good, if you look good, you feel better. And if you feel better, you are a better person for all. That I attribute my success in my sincerity of character and hard work and detail. I'm extremely detailed person, and I know I was good at it from the beginning, and I'm better now as the years progress, but I dedicated effort, time, hard work.
Perfect. Thank you
And
so
of course,
much.
my husband was there, always there for me. My husband, of course, I had the support of him as well, because I would fly to Dubai, I would fly to Abu Dhabi, I'll go to Riyadh, to Saudi Arabia, I'll go to Paris, I'll go to Hong Kong, I'll go to wherever, to Greece for the courses, for the training, for the classes. But yet, and he was there. Of course, that was a
Right,
great
right,
support, but hard work and sincerity.
right.
Never cheated anybody, never lied, never said something was not true. What are the side effects? This it may happen. If it doesn't happen, well, but this may happen. This, come out of it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for responding to all my questions with so much detail and precision. So I will quickly go to the questions that we've got from my attendees. Before that,
So,
Mrs. Ira, I would also like to share with you for aesthetic medicine in India. This is our anniversary month, and we are going to be releasing our anniversary edition of the magazine, Aesthetic Medicine magazine, next week. It's going to be
absolutely.
available on our website in this whole lockdown period that we are in. We've kept our digital copy available on our website for a free download by anybody. So you too do not forget to download our copy, and for all
This
our
is what
attendees
we
too.
are gonna, and this is what we're gonna be doing soon. We are gonna be teaching digital over the net. We are
Yes,
preparing our
yes,
material for web teaching, web learning.
right. And our anniversary edition of the magazine covers India's 50 dermatologists. So I'm sure it would be an interesting read for everybody. And again, I'll mention our website is aestheticmed.in. So do not forget to go and download your free copy next week. So with that, I'm going straight to the questions. I see a lot of questions in the Q&A box and the chat box. So I'll begin with the Q&A box. Um,
Absolutely.
well, there is a request to show instruments and colors used, but I think that is something we couldn't do for today. But we can definitely look at it in another session that we could share going forward. Um, uh, Pre-operative investigations, I think we've already covered that when we spoke about the preventive measures that need to be taken. Um, if a patient has any disease like HIV or HBs, AGs, and how do you proceed? So I think that too we touched upon, where you did mention that you would not go in for, a patient who is having any of this. Is the procedure painful? Is it on local anesthesia? Yes, I think we've covered that as well. It is on local anesthesia. And if a patient after some time wants to change the permanent makeup or our procedure was not perfect, how do you rectify it?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be removed either by special liquid or be covered. Absolutely, can be removed or covered or changed.
Okay, but can we
Not
do it
as easy.
immediately, or we need to like wait for some time after the?
Can be done immediately if the color is not embedded as deep already, but preferably to wait for about a month until everything settles before you change it. Yes, it can be changed, but it's not usually one-time procedure. It may take 2 or 3 times, either by the liquid acid that we use, a special liquid, or by colors, camouflaging colors. Can be removed. I mean, my experience shows that the corrections are a big thing. Can be done, but it is not, the effects are not immediate. It's a step procedure that may take 2 or 3 times to be finalized and camouflage everything and change to different, or go back to your normal eyebrows or whatever.
How much time does it take for the entire procedure?
I would say minimum an hour and a half, because the person comes, they sign, they're explained, they're drawn on the design, the colors preparation, etc. I always like to give an hour and a half to 2 hours. Now, if a person decides to do all three at once, it may take only 2.5 hours. But if they come only for one procedure, it will take at least an hour and a half, because this is something you do not rush. Because as I'm doing the procedure, I also saw clients in the mirror. I don't just finish up and say, okay, done. And then, there is disasters, because like you said earlier, some people may not expect to see, maybe they expected something different, and they see some results that they don't approve. So during my procedure, I saw people in the mirror, they get up, I look at them straight forward, they look at themselves in the mirror, and they decide if they like it when we proceed. So an hour and a half to 2 hours for eyebrows, for example, at the most.
Hmm. There's a question on the costing. Like, how much do you charge for the procedure? How much can the whole treatment cost?
Well, that differs, honey. My prices, I like to have same prices all over the world, but life doesn't work like that. For example, Greece went through, I used to charge like 500 euros in Greece a few years ago, but we went through a crisis, so the prices went down to between 250 to 350. In Saudi Arabia, I charged $2,000, but in India, would anybody pay that much? No. I cannot. In India, it depends on the market. We we fix our prices depending on the market. We don't want to be extremely expensive, although we're the best, but we don't want to go cheap either, because cheap means cheaper materials, cheaper everything, and we will not compromise the results for any of that. I would say a price between $400 to $600. It will be a good price, not very cheap, not very expensive. But again, it depends. I cannot give a full time in a full price for India, because we have to explore the market and decide what can be affordable, and it cannot be also elite procedure. People need it, and when people need it, they should have it, and we should make it affordable for them to have it.
Yes. Do you require a patch test of pigments before any permanent makeup correction procedure?
If people are extremely allergic, I would do one on their hand or behind the ear or somewhere, if they are known to be extremely allergic. But in my business, and I swear to God, never had anybody with side effects of that allergic reactions. But if they know to be extremely allergic, I will do a patch test, or I will not accept them if I fear that they will develop a problem. You understand? It's not only my reputation or my company's reputation, it's their life. And the life of each person is much more important than any permanent makeup or any makeup in the world.
Right, right. Also, are there any chances of patchy loss of pigment area? And in that case, what can we done? What can be done?
Are you talking about vitiligo?
I think so, because that's how the question has come. It just mentions, are there any chances of patchy loss of pigment area? And in that case, what to do?
If they're talking about vitiligo, absolutely. I showed you the men earlier. Some people develop vitiligo. This is a disease where people lose color throughout the body. And actually, that's very common in India. But now, if it's the whole body, it's extremely difficult because you can never match the color 100% to the skin. Because you see, like remember what I told you about the eyebrows, the color goes through stages because it finalizes its final permanent states. So how can you patch the whole body or the whole face or the hands, which I have done. I have pictures here also where here, you see here? Do you see here?
Mrs. Iro, your hand is covering the camera. We can't see it.
How about here? Can you see here?
No, we can't see anything. Your hand has covered the camera.
I don't think so. How about
so
now?
I think the video has frozen. Can you just check?
Right.
Maybe it's closed on your phone, the Zoom video.
Oh, how can I go back? Oh my God. Okay, how about now? Can you see now?
Yeah, you're back. Yes.
Do you see the vitiligo?
Oh, yes.
Do you see?
Yes, we can.
And this is the before and this is the after. Same here, before and after on the hands. Same here on the leg, before and after. Now, the thing is, but that if it's vitiligo and it's extended area, not good results. If it's small areas like under the eyes, on the fingers here, on the elbows, good results, very good results. But if it's extended area, no. It will never heal equal to the same color of the rest of the skin. If it's small areas, yes. Or if it's a skin, if it's a burn, fine. But if it's vitiligo, and the vitiligo usually progresses, the discoloration in the skin changes all the time. Rarely it is permanent. Of course, sometimes it's permanent, but it changes.
Yeah, so the doctor who shared this question also said that she meant patchy loss of pigment in the treated area and what can be done. So, yeah, so I think that's what she was referring to. But I'll go to our next question, that how do you clean between two passes of micropigmentation or microblading? Like, do you use normal saline or alcohol swab?
To clean the area, you mean?
Yes.
Alcohol patches are fine to clean the area. Is that, I'm sorry, is that what you asked me?
Yeah, so I'll repeat the question again. It says, how do you clean between two passes of micropigmentation or microblading? Do you use normal
saline? Oh my goodness, with sterile water only, not with alcohol. No, because the skin is already broken. No, you clean with gauze or cotton dipped in sterile water, but you squeeze the excess water off. You don't let the water, pour away. No, you just use cotton pads with sterile water squeezed off, and that's how you clean. Not with alcohol. With alcohol, you clean only the skin while you're preparing it, before you start the procedure.
Right. We're having a lot of requests for, the complete technique video. So what I'm going to tell my attendees for that is that Mrs. Iro will see if she can, help us with a video. And if she does, we will upload it on our website as well, and it would be shared with you. So we will come back to you on that shortly.
Absolutely. We can do that another time. Prepare a nice video for all. Actually, I have some on my Instagram. I do have some videos on my Instagram on that area for doing lips, I think, and eyebrows. There are on my Instagram. You can see a few of those videos and testimonials and everything.
Right. So there's another question on how do you assess colors you mix in hand? So how it looks in dermis through epidermis or any indicators. How do you assess the colors you mix in hand?
I don't understand this question. How do I assist?
How do you assess? So how do you assess the colors you mix in hand? Like how does it look in dermis through epidermis? Are there any indicators?
Oh, how do well, experience is an indicator. If you're not expert, you use just the color from the bottle. But you know, for example, if I am to do dark brown, I put dark brown, I put light brown, I put a little bit skin color, and I put one drop of black in it. And I know that will give me the dark, medium dark brown that I want 2 weeks later. Okay, this is my experience, which when I teach these details as well. And that's how my expertise came from trying on my own self. Remember what I told you earlier? When I did all the spin points and I had to do that two over because I had to learn, but I do teach all this stuff. It's experience, and it's also, or if you cannot trust to do that, you use the color from bottle, and that's it. And the color tells you, today is going to be like that, in 2 weeks it's going to be like that.
Right.
So you don't mess up with your own trials if you don't trust or you don't have experience. That comes with time.
Right. How does it not adversely affect the skin around the eyes since it's thinner than the rest of the face?
The color? The permanent makeup?
Permanent makeup.
How does it affect it?
No, it says, how does it not adversely affect the skin around the eyes since the skin is thinner than the
skin
rest of the
because
face?
the skin renews itself. It does not affect it in getting wrinkled or anything. On the contrary, it's skin, and you lightly apply your eyeliner on top of the permanent eyeliner. It has no side effects. It does not make them wrinkle. It does not make them age faster. Or, you know, people ask me these questions sometimes. From my experience of all these years, I've never seen the wrinkle. Look at me. The skin is not wrinkled more here than it's in the rest of the face. It doesn't. And another side effect that I've noticed, and I have to from other technicians, you told me about side effects earlier, and I hope your clients, your people listen to this. Sometimes what I've seen, like I showed you earlier in the picture in corrections, some color may go inside the skin, and it happens in the corners of the eye because the eye skin here is extremely thin. So if you don't have the expertise, you haven't trained correctly how to put the needle while you're applying the permanent makeup, this can side effect and drip the color inside the skin, and it develops like a patch of color, and that is a really big problem. But generally speaking, the skin on the eyeliner doesn't get any worse wrinkled or any wrinkle at all over time than other facial skin.
Once a pigment is introduced, what are the chances of it darkening?
Darkening?
Yes.
I cannot hear you. Once the pigment is in the, you know, I cannot hear you very well. That's why.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. So
I think better.
Once the pigment is introduced, what are the chances of it darkening?
Well, on the skin or on the air?
Well, that
there
is
are two different.
Mentioned. Yeah. But
you see, that's what I'm saying. If you put it on the air, if you leave the color, after an hour, it will dry out and it will be powder. If you leave it in the container and you leave it on the air, it'll dry out. In the skin, it will not darken. It will darken only after the initial crust goes away. You know, as I told you, it goes darker. Actually, it's not the color, it's the crust makes it look darker because of the oxygenation in the air. And then it goes darker, the crust goes away, it goes lighter, and then it comes darker. But after a month for the skin to get darker, no, it will not go darker unless you cover it again with permanent makeup. Did I answer you correct? Do you understand?
Yes.
The skin, the color will usually go lighter over time, not darker. No, ma'am. No, absolutely not. You darken it with permanent makeup again with a touch-up, then it will go darker.
Right. There's also a question on, would chemical peeling or lasers interfere?
Chemical peels. Well, when you do permanent makeup, you would avoid the laser in that area. Of course, you would avoid laser in that area. If you are to do laser, or even if you do UVA exposure to sun color in those machines where you suntan, you cover the area. You cover it. You cover the area. Of course, lasers could, because if you do a laser, let's say hair remover around your mouth, it can discolor the color. It will discolor your lip liner color. Sometimes laser remove your own pigment, let alone the color, the pigment of the artificial color on your skin. It will remove the color. And sometimes lasers discolor the color, not just remove, but discolor as well. Chemical peels, yeah, they will make the color go faster because the chemical peels help the skin rejuvenate itself faster, so they will remove the color. So if you do a chemical peel, you will not do it around your eyes, you will not do it on your eyebrow, you will do around, so you can avoid them.
Also, there's a question that have you used this procedure to mask scars? Like, does it help in scars also?
Absolutely, absolutely. Here is one. Look at this. You see this scar from cancer?
Mrs. Iro, your video has gone off again.
Again. Okay, let's see. How can we? I don't believe this. Start my video again. Okay. How about now? Okay.
Yes, it's on.
Okay. Let's see. Do you see this scar from cancer?
Yeah.
You see it?
Yes.
The scar here?
Yes, yes.
You see what I did? Permanent makeup.
Yeah.
On the breast, for example.
Yes.
Yes. You can mask scars beautifully. This is from my first, I helped organize the first ever plastic surgery conference in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Here I am teaching, showing people years ago in CIDESCO in Greece how to do permanent makeup. Can you see? At the conference.
Yes. Oh, we also have some of our attendees asking if you do any courses in permanent makeup.
Absolutely. I come to Bombay to do Mumbai. Sorry, I call it Bombay all the time. I come to Bombay, to Mumbai, and I teach. But now we're going to start developing our online courses, and we are going to make it very, very financially inexpensive. We're talking about very little money for what you're going to learn, for basic education, like, you know, let's say eyebrows first, and then the eyeliner, the lips, full lip, alopecia, vitiligo, breast, areola restoration, and everything. Soon, I think by end of June, I'm gonna have all our team is preparing our online courses. But personally, as the person I am, I like to teach hands-on. I love to come to India and teach hands-on. That gives me the great pleasure. I did a big demonstration in Mumbai a year and a half ago at plastic surgeons and dermatologists at Nain Public Hospital. Yeah, that was a year and a half ago. I had more. It was like 40 people had declared and 120 people showed up. Watching the permanent makeup, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Once things pick up, I will start coming personally again. Now I haven't come for 4 or 5 months, but usually I come 2 or 3 times a year anyway.
Right.
I'll come back, but we're going to do the online.
Sure, sure. So I'm skipping some questions that I know you've already covered, and I think even our time is up. So I'm taking a last question. There's a question on, have you had hypertrophic scars in a needled area?
You know something? Not with permanent makeup, unless they already exist or the people have the tendency to do hypertrophy. Like people, for example, if people have done abdominoplasty, which means abdominoplasty, abdominal. People have excess belly and they remove the belly and they have a big scar that goes from hip to hip and they developed hypertrophy. This, you can cover it with color, with permanent makeup, but the scarring, the hypertrophy will still be there. Unless they're extremely people with skin which is prone to this condition, they may develop slight hypertrophy. It's not very common, but it has happened. Can happen. Has happened, can happen, it's not common. It's common for people who already suffer from it, but I've never seen anybody for eyebrows to develop hypertrophy. It's called in English, my God, I can't believe I forget the name of the condition. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I forget the name. And usually the scar gets red. People get this usually after an operation in any part of the body. But it's not common. Let's put it this way, it's not very common. I can't believe I forget the name of the English word. Yeah.
Right. But that brings us to the end of today's session. Although I think I was having a lovely time. It was a great interaction, and thank you so much, Mrs. Iro, for joining us today. And actually, as you know, we are live on Zoom. We also streaming live on our YouTube channel, which is Aesthetic Medicine India. So if anyone's joined us in between today, you want to know what you've missed out on, all you need to do is, go and catch our video on our YouTube channel. But the easiest way to reach there is our website. I think our website is the route to reach everything that we do. So aestheticmed.in, I'm going to mention that again. And I'm also going to type it in the chat box so that you get it all right. So aestheticmed.in is our website where you would get a video of this webinar as well and all the webinars that we've been doing. So once you arrive our YouTube page, do not forget to subscribe because that will become a reminder for you for every time that we go live. As Mrs. Iro said, she has some videos on Instagram. So till we get a video from her and it goes on our website, you can visit her on her Instagram page. Aesthetic Medicine India also is there on Instagram and Facebook. So do not forget to follow and like us. A quick update on our next session. We have this coming Tuesday, May 26th, a session on your practice marketing path, a path to net profitability by Harshal Limai. He's been doing a series with us. So this is his last series where he's going to summarize and, conclude to all the sessions that he's been doing with us on marketing. So with that, we take your leave. Once again, thank you, Mrs. Iro. It has been lovely.
Thank you very much for connecting with me and me with you. I love India. I love Indians, and I'm all for you. Anytime you need me, I'll come there. You get me on the webinar, and I'm here to help.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate that.
You're welcome, my dear.
And do let us know when you come to India next and what are your activities going on. We would be really happy to, inform our aesthetics community as well about the same.
Absolutely. Are you going to share my Instagram with the people yourself?
I will do it. They will get an email communication from me post this session. Yeah. I will share it with them. Yes.
Thank you so much. Next time we do the actual job.
We shall plan that soon. Yeah. You take care.
Thank you
safe.
So much.
Bye.